Hey there everyone, it's Misty here. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, I have an update for you. I'm not weighing in today. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I had a pretty big February and met a lot of goals, did a lot of stuff. So I thought that I would share that with you. Before we get into that though, if you missed it, I posted on my community tab that Rob has contracted the Panini 3 years. It took 3 years for him to get it. And I am trying not to get it. So the reason why I'm not weighing is because our scale is on the bottom of the closet, and I'm trying to stay away from him, number one. And number two, I cannot bend over and pick it up. Number one, it's heavy. Number two, I can't bend over. So we'll have to wait on the weigh-in for the next couple of weeks to see when he feels better. I'm praying and hoping beyond hope that I haven't caught it. I'm filming this on the 28th. He was diagnosed yesterday. I am feeling okay as of right now. I'm trying to get some bulk filming done for my other channels. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about how February went because I actually had a lot go on last month. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. Okay. So I have been trying to, I've set these kind of goals that go with my word of the year, which is mindful. And I didn't really accomplish a whole lot in January, but you guys, I killed it in the month of February. Killed it. Okay. So one of the things on my list was to find a mental health therapist. And I did that. So I actually saw a psychiatrist first because I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right kind of medication for my depression. And then I don't know if you're going to be able to see, my anxiety has started manifesting as hives. And they'll come and go. When it first started was the 2 days leading up to seeing my spine surgeon. And they've just developed today. And I was doing my best to try to find a way to get medicine here for Rob today. He has a prescription that he's working on, but he's also like taking NyQuil and DayQuil, you know, sucking on cough drops and stuff like that. I got him a couple of some blow pops. That way he has something in his mouth to kind of keep his throat from being dry and just hacking all day. So I'm trying to keep him hydrated. I'm trying to keep him fed. But we got a man down. We've got a man down. So the hives have developed. So, and I told him, I was like, I don't feel like I need something like every day for anxiety. So he prescribed hydroxyzine. It's actually, I think he said it's like a antihistamine, but I took one earlier for the very first time. I think it calmed the redness down, but it's not completely gone away. So I can take that again in like 3 or 4 more hours. So we'll give that a go and see how that's going. So saw a psychiatrist, and then I ended up seeing a therapist. You know what? Let me go back to my calendar and see what we did. Okay. So I think we talked about my visit with the endocrinologist, but we didn't talk about the blood work. So I saw my new endocrinologist and I was like, I'm pretty sure my A1C is going to be like 9. I had 3 different steroids in 6 weeks and I'd stopped wearing the meter. She's like, you haven't worn the meter. And I was like, it didn't make any sense to me to waste a meter when I knew it was going to be high and there's nothing we do to get it lower. Like I'm not on insulin or anything like that. So I got that paperwork back. You guys, my A1C is 7.7. That's good. That's good. That's good. Is that the lowest it's been in the last few years? I honestly can't remember, but I was so relieved that the A1C was 7.7 and not 9 or 9.7. So there was that. And then we went ahead and did a saliva Cushing's test. It was 2 nights. I had to chew on this thing, collected my saliva. Both of those tests came back fine. So there's nothing wrong with my hormones, nothing wrong with my thyroid, and I don't have Cushing's. So there's nothing wrong with my cortisol. So I basically have no answers for that. So I got that done. And then On the 15th, I went and met with a new spine doctor. So I mentioned in the last video, I think I mentioned that I saw the, the PA for the neurosurgeon, and she was like, I think it's, it's definitely going to be I feel like, she said, I'm pretty certain that it's going to be your neck, and he's going to want to do a fusion, and he's going to want to do it within the next 6 months, blah, 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 blah. Then I got a note that said, he said because of an infection you had in 2019, and he's not sure if your neck is causing you any issues, he's not inclined to offer you surgery. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I went ahead and asked my pain management doctor to refer me to someone new. So it took, I didn't hear anything for a good month. So I called and made my appointment, and we saw him on the 15th. I literally got in the very next week. He was. So, again, I broke out in hives, because I was just so concerned. I needed the second opinion. I needed the second opinion on the OPLL. I needed the second opinion on my lower back. So he was like, I think your neck is fine for now. He said, is there some stenosis? Yes. He said, but by the MRI, there's no contact being made. There's no issue with the spinal cord as of now. He said, I don't think we need to focus on your neck. He's like, you need another laminectomy. I was like, God damn it. He said, you really need another laminectomy under, where you got it done the last time. And I said, does that need a fusion or something like that? And he's like, not right now. He said, we can just go in and kind of shave off part of that bone that's touching the nerve, and that should eliminate the nerve pain. And I was like, okay. And I said, is that dire? And he said, no. He said, now if you start experiencing the things that you experienced in 2019, loss of sensation in your leg, loss of bladder control, if you start having those symptoms that point to you need to have surgery, he's like, then we'll talk about it then. He said, but as of right now, you're okay. And I said, I want to get 100 pounds off before I have surgery. I said, so I would like to wait as long as we can for me to get this weight off. And he said, well, are you having bariatric surgery? And I said, no. And he looked at me, he said, are you working with the bariatric center? And I said, no. And he said, how are you trying to lose the weight? And I said, through keto carnivore. I said, I do better when I eat low carb. I can lose weight doing low carb. And I said, if you're sitting here telling me that I'm a risk, for infection from a back surgery or any kind of surgery, I'm also at a risk because of bariatric surgery. So that puts me just as high as risk as having back surgeries for an infection that I had in 2019. So I said, I can do it on my own. I know I can do it on my own. And I said, plus the weight loss surgery is just a tool. I said, it doesn't handle the mental shit that I've been going through the last year and a half. Well, the last 7 years, if you want to be quite honest. So he was like, okay. And I said, he said, I'll meet you again in August. And he said, if you're, hopefully you have your weight down, and then we can talk about a surgery later in the fall. And I said, okay. He also did an x-ray. I never had an x-ray like this before. You step into it and it does an x-ray. So he did that. I liked him. I don't know. It's just, there's something about neurosurgeons and back surgeons. There's something about them. So I think we talked about my SI joints, how they were really bothering me. I may or may not have shared the MRI results with you guys. So I went and had my SI joints checked. I had to have a steroid to calm the left one down. And I talked to my rheumatologist about it, and she's like, I looked at the MRI and it doesn't show any autoimmune inflammation that we would check for. She was like, clearly you have some degeneration going on there, blah, 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 blah. So when I saw her on the 23rd to have my infusion, we kind of talked about it, and she said, as of now, there's nothing that is going on autoimmune wise that we need to deal with. She said, but I want you to consider going back on methotrexate with this infusion, because we were talking, and most of my inflammation is in this hand. And I asked her if it was because of the surgery, and she said no. She's like, this is completely different. And she had her med student play with my hand too, and he was like, yeah, I can feel it. So she said, let's try this. and see if that helps make you, like, get you through the whole 8 weeks. Because that's what I told her. It's like, it's about a week and a half when I can start to feel that it's wearing off and that I start having more and more inflammation. She said, hopefully this will get you through. I don't know if it's working yet, but we'll see. My blood work came back, and I'm lowering my SED rate and I'm lowering my CRP. So I feel like that's the goal, is to try to get it down. A lot of that can be done with diet, but also the infusion. So unfortunately, I just had that infusion last week, which is immunosuppressant. I still have the bruise from the IV. We tried my hand, because she said I have a lot of scar tissue and these big juicy veins in my arm. And so yeah, this bubbled up and was terrifying. It scared me half to death. So that happened. Then last week was crazy. I saw my regular doctor on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, I went for my infusion, and then I went back to the optometrist. So I told her when I saw her at the beginning of January that my blood sugars had been running high, and I knew once they became stable that my prescription would change. And she's like, you have 60 days. So I went and saw her last week, and she's like, yeah, she's like, you're kind of right between the old prescription and the new prescription. So we're going to get you some new lenses. One thing that she was trying to do was, I have astigmatism in my left eye. She's like, I was trying to correct that with those lenses. She said, but it sounds like it's not helping. It's making your vision worse. Because I told her, I was like, when I look through the bifocals, because I have bifocals, I said, it's blurry. I said, and also on the right eye, there doesn't seem to be a difference between the lens and the bifocal. So I'm waiting for those to show up. Hopefully they get here. The Monday of last week, I met my therapist. There is a local hub, I guess, that employs counselors and stuff all through Texas. And I reached out to them, and they connected me with a therapist out of Corpus Christi. So we're doing video chat. She was awesome. She was so good. She was so good. I'm so excited to meet with her. The only thing that is, I can only see her every other week, and I kind of feel like I need it way more often than that, and I may talk to her about that. But she did a lot of intake, and she's like, there's a lot to unpack. I was like, there's a lot to unpack. I told her about my mother. I've told her about all of, like, how it felt to lose my job, or how to leave my job, how it felt, having this diagnosis taken away, how I feel like it, like, threw me back into the grieving process. So we talked a lot. I think we talked like an hour and 10 minutes, and because she was doing some kind of test and stuff. So she said, she'll make a plan and we'll go forward, and I see her again next Monday. So that was done. I scheduled my mammogram. Another thing that was on my list, I scheduled an appointment with the gynecologist. Another thing that was on my list. And then my primary doctor said, you need a bone density test because you're about to be 45. And I said, okay. And he's like, you should be able to have it the same place you have your mammogram done. And I elected to have a 3D mammogram. So this will be my first one. He said, I don't need a colonoscopy yet. So thank God for that. So yeah, that's it. I think I told you guys that the endocrinologist wanted me, she's like, do you want to try another weight loss drug? And I was like, no, let's just do what we're doing and see how we go. I'm sitting at 170 right now. It's been elevated the last couple of days because I'm sure it's because of stress, because I've been flipping stressed out because of Rob, and just trying to make sure that I had, like, today I had to do an Instacart order because we were out of, like, over-the-counter stuff. He didn't have any cough drops that were, like, I felt like were good enough to kind of help him with the cough that he has. And I got him a bag of suckers, so he has something in his mouth to suck on. Am I repeating myself? I apologize. So we bumped up my Lyrica with my pain management doctor. I think I told you guys that. So we went from 300 to 450. One of the side effects is dizziness, which I'm not experiencing, but I'm experiencing losing my words, like having word recall issues. And my regular doctor and my rheumatologist was like, Misty, this is a lot of Lyrica. And I said, it is the only thing that is helping the pain. Like literally the only thing. I'm still taking Tylenol 3. I take one in the morning, I take one at night. There are days where I'm taking 2 at a time, which I can, but I was like, I as long as it's like, if I have surgery, and we get the pressure off that nerve, then yeah, let's bump back down to 300. I said, but until then, this is literally the only thing that's basically saving my life. Like, the pain has just been like that. And my primary doctor, he's like, that was the thing with my neck. He's like, I kept living with it and, getting through and just going along and getting as much done. And he said it just came to a point where the pain was not worth it. You know what I mean? And I told him, I said, because there were a couple of times when I'm like, why am I doing this? What is the point? Why am I still here? Because this is dumb. So luckily I haven't really had those thoughts in a while. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm on this Lyrica and it's helping the nerve pain more than you can even know. Like, seriously, more than you can even know. I actually had a low blood sugar last week when we were on our way home from the optometrist, which is 2 hours away. It got down to like 69, and I was like, holy shit. And that's the lowest it's been in a while. And so the Dexcom will give you a reading that it's low. I didn't have anything in the car that was a carb. Like, I had, erythritol, which I don't know that would raise it, but Rob had like 1 or 2 sips of ginger ale left. So I did that, and it got me up to like 100 or 110. And then I finally ate. So I had several lows like at the end of the night, and I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to have to add a carb at dinner. Like, not a whole lot, but like a small bite of something that will help keep my blood sugar elevated rather than having a low and having to do like a rescue, like a piece of candy or a sugar packet or something like that. So I did put some sugar packets in my purse. And I told Rob, I was like, when that happens, I was like, if I'm lethargic or something like that, it's like, you have to make sure you give me sugar. Give me something. You can put it under my tongue. He hasn't really had to deal with this before, but with this Wegovy, it's really, really helping. So it's a lot. I don't think I've lost any weight. I've been so flippin' swollen, and I've been constipated a lot. Sorry to talk about poo, but we're going to talk about poo for a minute. So when I first started this Wegovy, it was like being on metformin. Seriously. And now that I've been on it for a little over a year, it's causing the opposite issue. So one thing I talked about my doctor with was, how often can I take laxatives? And he said, like, what? I was like Miralax or something. He's like, you can do that every day. So I have been. But it's been rough. Like, it's been real rough. And then I took it, and it took like 3 or 4 days for it to start. But then we had to go on this trip, and I was like, I can't be on this trip and have to go. So I took some Imodium. My system is all messed up. Let me tell you. So yeah, that's really about it. I've tried a new, my goal in February was to give up aspartame. That did not happen. I'm going to try to do it in the month of March. Hopefully that will happen. I found there's really no diet soda other than Diet Right that's not sweetened with aspartame. So I found, it's called Splash, I think, and they have a black cherry. I think it's like just flavored water. And you guys, I love the Polar Diet Black Cherry soda, not the seltzer, the soda. When we go to Massachusetts, we'll buy like 18 or 19 bottles, and that's what I'll drink the whole entire time we're there. And I haven't found anything until this that even comes close, and it's delicious and I really like it. I'm trying to limit myself to once a day. So yeah. What else? I tried the bagels from Aldi, the keto bagels. I didn't care for them. They don't bump up my blood sugar at all. Neither does the bread. They do have wheat gluten, and they have a couple byproducts of wheat, but there's nothing in it that should elevate your blood sugar. And then they have wraps, and I tried the regular wraps, and they are really good. Like, they don't taste like anything, which I love because I can, enchiladas. I had a breakfast burrito. Like, I love them so much. Rob picked up the multigrain ones for me. I haven't tried those yet, but the regular wraps didn't raise my blood sugar either. So I'm excited to have those. And I've mentioned before, I'm kind of doing lazy keto, and my therapist and I were talking, and she's thin. Like, she's thin. She's like, yeah. She's like, I said, I do keto. I said, but I'm doing lazy keto because you know, I can't do macros because I focus on numbers. She's like, I was the exact same way. She's like, I'm the exact same way. She's like, I can't count macros. She's like, I just get fixated on the number. She's a Taurus and we have a lot in common. Plus I feel like she is open-minded, etc. So I think, I mean, based on first meeting with her, I think this is going to work out well. So fingers crossed for sure. Other than that, I'm just hoping and praying that I don't get COVID from Rob. We had to sleep together because we were in the middle of a craft room renovation when this happened. We literally moved almost all of my craft room into the guest room and into the sunroom. And I don't want him trying to lift and stuff like that, and I can't do it. So we slept together last night. We have a king size bed. I normally sleep on my right side. He was sleeping on his left. I've been spraying everything every couple of hours. So I'm just trying to keep me safe, keep him safe, keeping him water. Like, did you drink some water? Do you need some? I'm like just trying to stay on top of it with him. So hopefully the anxiety will kind of go away and I will continue to be symptom free. So cross your fingers, light a candle, say some prayers, whatever you do. I would really appreciate it. So I was gonna start vlogging. I might still start vlogging my meals starting tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. It's really just gonna depend on how I feel. And like I said, I don't have a weigh-in for you guys because I cannot reach the bottom of the cabinet to get the scale and it's heavy, but I will try to weigh in mid-month and we'll see what's going on. But hey friends, I editing back, I realized I didn't mention that I went to the pain management doctor on Friday, and she said, let's go ahead and do a steroid injection in your right SI joint. So she's like, is it your tailbone? And I stood up and turned around. I was like, no, it's right here. And she's like, oh, that's your SI joint. So I think it's the 24th of the month. I have a steroid injection for that SI joint. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. Subscribe if you haven't already. I need to get back to posting over on Instagram. I want to share with you all of the things that I've been eating and trying, and I really want to buckle down and get 100 pounds off. If you guys can think of a hashtag I can use, I've been trying to wrap my brain around, like, what can I call this little series? You know, watch me getting to 100 pounds. You guys have to leave your suggestions down below. But other than that, I love you so very much. I hope you're doing well. Those of us in Texas, I hope you are surviving this heat. Those who've gotten dumped on with snow, I hope that has been okay. This weather has been batty for sure. But yeah, all right, friends. I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.